Hello, I'm Chris, this is Gross Models, and this is something a little bit different. This is a Mechanical Gears treasure box from Rokr. I don't know exactly who it is. I was looking at puzzle boxes as a mental experiment and saw this one that was sort of a puzzle box, but you also sort of have to make it. So it's a sort of model kit puzzle box type hybrid. So I ordered one, it came, and I'm going to build it for you today, and we'll see exactly what it is and how it works and what does what. Basically it's going to be a cubicle box which has a couple of compartments in it and keys and stuff and things. Apparently in here we have 5 sheets of pre-cut wood, some wax, some rubber rings, sandpaper and a round wood stick. Although it does say the image shown here is indicative only. Actual products may differ. So what we actually get in here is, you know, to be determined. So I'll get it open, we'll see what's in there, and we'll carry on from there. Okay, in the box we have a smaller box, which I'm assuming is going to be the other stuff. Yes, indeed, we have lots of rods, 2 like gasket rings, and as it says, a candle without the wick, so some wax. So that's that. Nothing else in the box there, we'll get rid of that. A card that says interesting and smart, which has got a QR code for customer service and assembly videos and things like that, so I'll put that to one side as well. Something saying if you're happy, tell us on thing. It doesn't say what to do if you're sad, so I assume they're just assuming nobody's ever sad about it. We have some instruction manual, which should be fairly straightforward. It's all pictures rather than words. It's got unconfigurable passwords. I don't know. All right, you can't use. It's got a password like a combination code, but apparently some of them you can't use. I don't know why, but there we go. We'll use that when we get there. It's telling us that we've got to cut some of the sticks to different lengths, so we'll worry about that when we get there. If it's too hard to push it round sticks in the hole, please polish both ends. Sandpaper. It didn't say it didn't have sandpaper. It said it had sandpaper in the pack. Ah, there we go. A small piece of sandpaper. Now it did say 5 sheets, didn't it? So we've got 3 big ones and 2 little ones by the looks of it. So sort of 4 sheets, but there we go. So let's cut out the plastic, and we'll have a look at the pieces themselves, see what we're dealing with. Now these should all be sort of laser cut, so wouldn't need any removing, cutting out or anything, although there may be, looks like there might be some little nub type things, which is what the sandpaper's for. Obviously it's quite a harsh grit sandpaper. Let's get the plastic off and see what's inside the pack. Right, there we go, that's all that gone. Throw that away because we don't need that anymore. So yes, as it says, 2 and 3, so yeah, it's technically 5, but really I'd have said that could have been 1, so it would have been 4, but yeah. Now these all look quite interesting, different bits. There we go, some writing on these. That's got all the numbers. This is page 4 of 5, that's 5 of 5 I assume. Yep. So yeah, right, let's get into the instructions and see what we've got to do. The assembly instructions. It starts off by warning us that product is only for people who ages over 14. I like the translations already. Children must assemble under the guidance of adults. Take the small parts off carefully in case of missing. Yeah, basically we won't worry too much about that. Parts list, we have round stick, 10 round sticks apparently, 1 wax and 2 rubber rings. That seemed to be what I had in the box. I didn't count exactly how many sticks, but there we go. Special attention if it's got the exclamation mark. Polish with sandpaper, make sure they rotate, make sure the gears work, do it twice, use a knife, perspective changed, wax or lubricant needed. Right, there we go. So let's start with, as ever, step 1. which is obviously going to start with a stick. So let's get a stick, and we'll see. We need to cut one of these to 6mm, and conveniently shows you 1:1 scale there. So let's get a stick, start off from an end, line that up with one end of that, and cut down there. Now what I'm going to do is roll it, which will make sure I cut in one place all the way through, or at least most of the way through, and then you can probably snap the last central bit. The easiest way of doing it. Sand that down just a touch. So we've got one of those. We've started. It's all going well. Right, let's see how the numbers work. We've got A10 and A7. I don't know. That doesn't tell you what board it's on or anything like that, does it? A6 I see down there. Decoding Tool. A11. A10. What did I want? 10. I did want A10. So I want that bit. And A7, the bit just above it. So let's see if these just push out. Sort of not really moving. There we go. Just pushing in the right bit, the right way. There's a couple of corners where it's held. The trick is to not break any of the pieces. Hopefully, I'm not going to break any of the pieces. We'll find out as the video goes on. Obviously, if any break, then they break, and we'll go on from there. So there is a little rough edge just where that was. So I might as well use the included sandpaper just to tidy up a couple of little edges. And I just noticed that I need 2 of those. It does say 2 pieces, but I ignored that. So let me cut one more of those off. Roll that. Let's try rolling it all the way through. I didn't want to because I thought it might ping off, but we don't really know for sure until it happens. I'm pretty sure they're going to be giving us enough rods to, you know, to deal with spares and excess. So I'm not worrying too much about that at the moment. There we go, that's that. So let's see, we've got that, and that needs to go together like that with these going through the holes. So what I'm going to do is push that through the first one. So quite a tight fit. So what I'm going to do is grab my tiny tweezers, not to pick things up, but just to use as a larger metal base to push with. A lot easier to push a big flat bit of metal than it is to push a small wooden tube. Actually, I will use that in to get that in there. See if that lines up just about right. There we go, and then you can push. Obviously going to push them through so they're level with the other side, and then try and get this lined up on top and push through as well. Might have been easier to do one at a time, but you know, why do we want to do things easy? Feels like that's lining up. So it is a little bit. There we go. That's definitely one of them going through. So we don't need that because it's flat. There we go. First bit assembled. Easy, sorted. Let's continue on as we mean to go on. Right, it says pay attention, or that's what that meant, wasn't it? Something about paying attention, wasn't it? So we've got those bits done. Then it looks like we're using a combination of other pieces to add them all together. So let's get a 9, 8, 9, 11, 12 and 13. There's 11. It's 13. 12, 9, 8 next to it. Was that all of it? I think that might have been all of it. So we've got 9 down the bottom, then the bit we've just done, then 8, then 13, 12, and 11. So that's all of those. A little bit of sanding to tidy those up. And try and remember what the other things it said was. Put wax on for the gears. It's got a picture of wax on one of those. There we go. That bit there, bit there, and a bit there. Now you could obviously use your own sanding sticks, sandpaper, anything you like to get rid of the edges on these, but I'm just going to try and use what they supply, because they supply it, so you know it should be okay. Now, this is obviously something to do with the code wheel or something, because it's a decoding tool. Wax. Let's get the wax out of the packet. So it obviously just says to sort of rub it in, but you can't get to any of it because it's all surrounded by that. So what I'm going to do is try and pop that out from the edge. There we go. So it says wax around the teeth, so I'm just going to rub some of that around the outside of these teeth. Can't really get into the inside very well, but we'll try and add a little bit. Now this is obviously going to act as a form of lubricant and enable them to slide over each other easier, whichever that ends up connecting to. So we've got that, and then that. Oh, there you go. It's just going to engage with that a little bit. So we have that. Then we have that. Has it got a particular way round? It sort of looks like you can move it. So we'll just get that in. Try and get it the same way round as it's on there. Pay attention, it says that one's that way round. Then that's that way round. So we're putting that there. Then that's that way round. Okay. Then we've got that one, which just goes in there. That one goes across the top there. Then we have the peg, which goes all the way through. So let's try to do that in reverse order, as it were. That through there and through there. Let's push it all the way through. Okay, then that will need to go on there, because that's got little blobs on the edge to stop it coming further through. That's got a hole that's bigger than all of it, so that will go through quite easily. And then that one locates on the bottom down there. Making sure that that springs out just that little bit. Like that. Okay, so we've got the decoding tool set up now, so that will rotate, and obviously the big bit on the back will rotate across that somehow, somewhere. Does it say it should? It says yes, you should be able to hold that, hold part A9, which is the big bottom one, with your left hand. Turn the handle A with your right hand to find C3. I don't know, is that just C3? So that's got to move. Yeah, there you go, it does. It just clicks over and engages. Don't know if it will go the other way. Yes, it goes both ways. Okay, so that works quite well. It says decode from the last figure of the password. Write down your password. Please check the unconfigurable password table to ensure the password can be set successfully. Right, so let's have a look. We've got, oh, C3 is visible through there. So you can see a 0 through there. Or you can move it to 1, 2. So let's have a quick look at this. See what numbers we can't use for some reason. So you can't use 998, but you can use 999, for instance. So let's go for, what should we go for? Let's put 055. Actually, let's put 144. 144, because I was going to go 055 because that's like that. But we'll do 144, because it's me. It's not listed. We can't do 143, but we can do 154. So let me grab a pen, donated by Dad at Scaly Models. We'll put 144 as our password code. Right, so it says turn the handle to find C3, so the third one. So I need that on 4. So that's 2, 3, 4. There we go. Turn the handle, find C2. I'll turn B to find C2. There's got to be a 4 as well. There we go. And then turn the inside handle to find C1. So that's got to go around to 1. Does that turn? Because that can't turn, because that won't be all of it, will it? P3 equals C3. I don't know what that means. Turn the handle, turn B. But I've just done B. Okay. Making sure the number in 3 doesn't change. This is confusing me now. I don't understand, because I've moved this one. So that's going to have changed, isn't it? I'll come back to the video when I've figured out what it means. Okay, I think I've got it. It seems to be making a vague sort of sense. This is all about getting the P numbers from your C number, which is, I assume, how you lock it and set it up. So I've done that. I've worked out, for having 144 as the code, that my P number is 014 because of all the way things line up, and when you get that on 1 for C1, on the 0 is P1. So that should be that. Now I've got the next couple of parts cut off, which are B14 and an E5. So here the 0 only represents the P1 value in the example of 730. Please insert the corresponding hole position according to your P1 value. So the P1 value is 0. So I've got to put this peg in the 0 of P1. It sort of makes sense. We're creating a combination lock. So obviously we need to program the combination. This is obviously just one combination that you can program. There's, in theory, 1,000, but there's some that won't work because of the way things line up, apparently. So there we go. We have that done in there. That says sand the edge and lubricate. So I've sanded it already. I shall lubricate around the exterior there, because this obviously has to slide and rotate. I'm assuming that there's something to do with the dip there and where that stops against other things. So yeah, let's continue on. Here the 4 is the value of P2, represented by 730. So yeah, I've turned over the page now. My P2 number is 1. So I need to get these parts and put it into the 1. I did notice that these basically sprues, all the B's are on 1, the A's are all on 1, so B11 is obviously on the B sprue. We're using an E4 for this one, so I do need to keep that E5 that I've cut off there for something else, and pull out a 4 because they come out in pairs. So let's get the E. That's the E. I need an E4, which, as I say, comes out as 2 of them. So we get that popped off of there, hopefully. There we go. Separate those and sand the edge of that down. Okay, so this is going to be a 1. P2, yes. Has to put that in the 1. Oh, we need both of them. They go in from opposite sides on this one. Okay. So I'm going for a 1. I'm putting that in there. Like that. And I'm putting this one in from the opposite side. Does it say which way to do it? It says wrong like that. They should be... Oh, I get it. So they're evenly filling the entire gap. So I've got to have that one all the way up to the side there. And this one the other way around, all the way up to the side there. So it creates a block that's equal either side. Okay, I get that. So far so good. B2. Then I need B12. And what do I need? 2 more E5s. So I've got, I just need 1 E5 for this. Oh no, I need 2. I don't understand. That's the E5. It looks like I need 2 of them for this. I don't know. P2, P3. Let's get the bit out and we'll worry about it then. Oh, this one's just got 2 to fill anyway, so yeah, we're going to need 2 of them for that. Sanding. Did it lubricate? I didn't lubricate that one. Let's do that. That was the other one that I didn't do. Cool, that's that. Let's do that one while I'm here. And let's pull out 2 more of these E5, although I only need 1. I'm not going to be able to get 1 out because they sort of join together. Although I might be able to get 1 out by pinging it. There we go. Pinged 1 out and it's worked. Sandpaper. Tied it up a little bit. So I've got the 2 of those. I'm putting those in from the front into both of those holes. No idea why this number doesn't matter. Ours is not the reason why. Both those in from the same side. Okay, that's that. Let's go on to section 3, which is lots of E's. E12, 13 and 14. E12 is that one. 13 and 14 just below it. That's that one. Now these bits are thinner, so they're obviously more prone to being broken. I'm going to try very hard not to. Oh look, there's a tool for measuring your sizes that was always falling out, so interesting. There we go, that's all of those. Once again, a little bit of sanding. Make them look nicer, and more importantly, make them fit together better and fit into where it needs to go. Right, so what we're doing with these, we've got the 12, we've got the 13 and the 14, which are different. The bits are in completely different places. So we've got the 13 at the top, that's going to go in there like that. That one's going to go underneath and fill in the other one and give us a sort of a cross-shaped thingy. It says oil, lubricate all the sides. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that's got to go through. I need also E6, 7 and B7. Let's get E. I've got E already. The round things, there we go, 6 and 7. These look like the actual combination type pieces. Don't want to get rid of the knurling from the edges there, but I do want to get rid of the couple of little rough bits. B7, that's the other bit that I need, which is not that one, that's B10. 7 is one of those. It looks like they're all B7s. So let's take out the one that's loose on its own. Don't want that, I want the sandpaper first. Cool. Right, now let's see, get these in the right order, because I've obviously now taken them off. I don't know which one was which. Are they different? They are. They go in different orders. So this one's the one that goes backwards, so it's that one. That one goes behind it. Does it go behind it? The other way around. It says to match up these shapes. So we've got the two circles, the triangle and the square. So yes, they go back to back like that. Because that's the numbers line up with each other on there. That's fine. I understand that. That makes sense to me. That comes in from the back. Again, probably easier to do them one at a time. Let's get that started. Alright, let's get these lined up around there. Triangle that side. There we go. So yeah, the numbers are slightly offset to each other, but I'm sure they know what they're doing. Push that. Is it all the way through? Yes, all the way through. And then put this over the top as well, just to hold it all in place. I should think a little bit of sort of washer. So there we go. That's that. The next bit, we need E6 and E7. That's the ones that I've just used. What? I'm not sure I just did that. Oh, it's just saying to turn it round and turn it round again. Okay, well, I've done that bit. There we go. So that's that. Hopefully it'll all sort of come together at some point. I need some more rods and the first big bit, A1. Let's get A1 out. Now this is the first big bit that's actually going to have to be curved, which are what these wavy lines are for. Carefully get that off, because they're cut sort of all the way through. It's got quite a lot of bend to it, so that's quite interesting, quite cool. It says be aware of that triangle. I don't know why. Okay, I'm aware of the triangle. I don't know why I need to be especially aware of the triangle, but I shall maintain my awareness of that triangle. Right, so we've got that there. It's on both sides, so that doesn't really help. That's obviously got to be the outside because it's got the lock-unlock symbols on it. So I need 4 of those and 2 of the C6. Right, what I'm going to do is continue to build some of this and get some of these pieces off. I'm not going to film every single step, but you see how it's going. Once I get to an interesting bit, I'll come back and film it again. So I'll see you when it gets more interesting. Okay, I've done a few bits and it looks like it's getting interesting, so I thought I'd let you join me for the assembly. I've cut out, or pushed out, this, which has got some lubrication around the edge and on the bottoms of those, which are attached on with little pegs. I've got extra little pegs on there. Now, onto that, we are putting these. It says to lubricate those as well. I've had to break a bit off of the wax, so I can sort of get around and into holes and stuff. So yeah, let's see if it works. We'll put that one on there. Just trying to get enough in. Obviously you can't use any liquid oil or anything on these because it would just seep into the wood. So they've thought that much through and supplied you with some wax to add that little bit of lubricant that hopefully will just keep it running smoothly. I don't know how long it'll run for, or how long it's intended to run for, or anything else. Then we've got the big bit, which is going to go in the middle. Now obviously these should all rotate at the same speed, and it should just all look lovely while it's turning and working and doing things. So that's going to go in there like that. So if I turn that, I'm hoping, yeah, it sort of works a little bit. I can see how it's meant to work, but yeah, it's not together yet, so I shouldn't really be playing with it yet. So that's that there. We've got this to go onto the outside, which again needs to be lubricated in the middle. That goes over the 3 of those, so that will hold that in place. Stop them from coming all over the place. Right, so that's that. Then we come up with the big key type thing that locates into there. And that goes through there. And then that turning, yeah, you can turn that, and that turns that. Oh, that is quite a nice, lovely thing of beauty. But I've just realised that I think this is all the wrong way around, because you're covering up the key locky unlock bits, and that's what this bit's for. So I'm going to take it all back apart again and reverse the direction. So when you come back, all of this will be back on there, but it will be on the other side, because I think that's the way it's got to be. Right, as I said, it's all done the right way around. I wouldn't get it wrong and do it. It's only for demonstration purposes that I can show you how it works wrongly. So yes, we've got that in there now, which is all rotating and everything, and you can see the plus, the the unlock and lock sort of directions, because otherwise, yeah, that would be wrong. So there we go. There we have it. That's that. That seems to be that page done. Next up, we're dealing with the whole locking mechanism thing and even more pegs and stuff. So I'll again get these arranged and cut off and seen, and carry on with the build. Right, the next moderately interesting bit. This has all been pinned together. It's all very cool. It's all the right stuff. It's all just wood. Apparently the right way around, according to the pictures that I can see anyway, so that should be there. And then it needs to go onto the base. Now, I assume you're not meant to put the answer in there. I don't know, but so 2 circles to code 1, 1 circle to code 2, and 0 circles to code 3. I don't know what 0 circles means, but anyway, we're putting it on this one, and we're going that way around. There's 6 holes, obviously there's 6 holes there, so I think we're lining it up with all of those. Or not, as the case may be. We'll try and line it up with all of those. It's obviously difficult to do all of them at once, but there's no other way of doing it really. You can't, something's got to be first and something's got to be last. There we go, that felt like that went home, and that does as well. That looks like it's popped out a little bit there. Let's push as hard as we can onto the surface. That put it back together. Cool, there we have that then. I don't know, it's obviously something to do with the code and the keys and stuff. So yeah, just to check, it says turn it over, and yes, you've got the writing on the underside, and this is obviously the internals. So onto this, we are putting the bit we prepared earlier that way round. Right, yeah, quite easily just keys in like that. He says quite easily and then doesn't do it easily. That's just absolutely par for the course for me. There we go. Brute force and ignorance. So many things. One bit at a time, just working your way slowly across, because you can't just get one side jammed in and the other side not. So there we go, we have the startings of the outside of the box. We need part B6, not B7, B6 is that one from the inside there. They've done it quite well in that a lot of these are interlocking internal pieces that they've fitted inside sort of the wasted space inside other larger pieces, so it does work. I'm very happy with how they've done this. Considering this entire kit was just over £20. I think it was £22. So yeah, I'm happy with how it's coming together. It's working, it's doing stuff. So there we go, that goes in there. It says that, and then we got P3. I don't remember which one. It's the one with P3 written on it. Right, that needs to go. Where does it go into that groove? So let's do this a bit at a time. That one goes into that first groove there. okay. With those sticking out, yeah, that's so far so good. That looks like that's what that says. Then we need B13. There we go. Now this one's got numbers on it, so it says be careful and make sure you get it right. It says 1 and 8. They join up with on the outside of there. Because obviously you've got to get this the right way round, otherwise the code won't matter. So we've got 1 at the top. So let's have 1 at the top as that gets into here. Turn that around a little bit more. Actually, just turn that back that way a bit. That should key in there. Yeah, it does. It zeroes up. So I can see that that obviously has a 1 going that way, and the one on the inside of there is going the same direction. So now when we turn this, that turns all of it. Okay, so far so good. I like that. Then we are, is this all continuing? Put that in there, make sure it lines up. That goes to there, yeah, corresponding position. Ah, right, here the 0 is only representative in your number. Oh, right, so yes, it is lined up with the 4. That was convenient, because that should be, the P3 value was 4, if I remember correctly. So it looks like I got it the right way round, purely by accident. Wherever I write down my P3 value is 4. My P2 is 1. So when I do the next bit, I've got to make sure I get that the right way around. So yes, I've got that lined up on 4, so that should unlock when 4 is in the right place, I think. I'm not entirely certain. It's now saying to put on a B6 as a spacer piece. That's the one I just did. I did that already. Or is that 13? I don't. B6. Oh, there's another B6. That's why. There's a B6 there as well, look. So we get that one popped out. Yeah, so this is just going to be a spacer. It says to lubricate, but I don't think... Won't it be... I don't know. Things aren't going to be turning apart from it, are they? I don't know. I'll lubricate it all because it says lubricate everything. It's got all coloured in. So that goes on there next. And we can push this through a little bit more. Not that much more, but you know the idea. So we'll come back out again. So, okay, so far so good. Then the next number is going to be setting up the next code, where we need P2, which is the one that's got P2 written on it. Drop that in there and put that in there. That's okay, yeah, so that goes into there next. Now, do I have to get this lined up anywhere particular? It doesn't sort of say I do. I think that's just going to be turned by the other one, so that's okay. Then we need a B7, which is one of these slightly different pieces, which is going to be the spacer for that. Because that will be rotating against it, so yeah, I understand that does need some lubrication there. Not so much around the edges, but on the flats, because the flats are going to be rubbing against the other sides. So again, let's push that through a bit more. That'll go on there, yeah, because that's going to be rotating and that one isn't until it gets brought up by the other one coming around. That's how combination locks work. So far so good. I like it. It's working. It's working as I expected it to. Then we're putting in P1. Again, doesn't matter where it is because it's going to be rotating on its own. That in there. Pushing that through. We can go probably all the way through now. No other extra bits to be added onto that according to the instructions. But there is another B7. Which will go onto the end and hold it all together. Liking it. I am enjoying it. It's a different level of model making to what I normally do. but it's quite enjoyable. It's fun. Now I need part C3, which is the big bit. There we go. This is another one that's good space management. C3 is this piece inside. That bit is probably completely wasted, but that bit is another piece that we're going to need at a later date for the outside or top of the box sort of thing. But it all gets used, well, not all of it, but lots of it get used. Let's tidy up the edges on there a little bit. Cool, I like that so far. And that goes that way round, yeah, with that bit on the inside into those holes there. Add a bit of stability. There we go. E17, see DE 17 is that one there. I don't know why that's different to the others, but there we go. So that doesn't need lubricating, it says. When that comes through, all the way through, like that, that will lock on there, and that holds it all secure. So when you're turning it, you're only turning the first dial, but by turning that you can pick up the second dial, and by turning that you'll pick up the third one. So you turn that to where it needs to go, then that rotates back round, picks up the second one, gets that to where it needs to go, and then you can turn the first one back to where it needs to go as well. I'm going to add some more lubricant to all of this, because that's feeling a little bit stiffer going round than I would like. And I shall leave you while I catch up on other bits, but I'll find you again when it gets to another interesting chunk. Okay, here we have that all assembled. I've been twiddling with my knob because it tells you to. It says, due to the large friction of wood, it's necessary to turn your knob repeatedly until the rotation is smooth. I have noticed that third one sort of catches and slips a little bit on its own. You see it there? That shouldn't be moving then until that catches up with it, and then it should move like that. So I'm pretty sure it's just going to take a bit of time and playing around to give that, you know, just so it loosens in and gets used to not moving when it shouldn't and stuff. But it does say that you should add this bit as well, which is sort of going to be holding these against it. And these are the bits that are going to cause the locking and unlocking, as far as I can tell. So that should probably add a bit more friction. That's going to go into there. So if we're working on the bits inside, obviously when it gets to wherever there we go, when that locks up to there, you can feel it go in a bit more. So you need to get that last one done, then come back to the first one, I don't know, about there, I'll cheat, and then the third one, not there, there, then that should all fall through inside, I think. There we go, like that, possibly. So once that actually all engages and completely clips in, so it's going to take a bit of wearing in, possibly adding more lubricant and things as time goes by, but we'll see. We've got to attach this to that way round there. The band hooks over there like that, and the other bit of that will hook into that groove inside there, and then that is all held tight because that being shifted all the way over to there, so that's putting quite a lot of tension on that. They've got to fit through there, then that fits on that side, and that fits around exactly like it did underneath but on the top. So that should hold everything structurally quite tight. And putting quite a lot of downforce on these, so that should help with making it only drop down into the right places and only move when it needs to be moved. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit of wearing in. Oh, that shouldn't have slipped out there. There we go. So yeah, I'm just going to twiddle with my knob for a little bit longer to get everything to line up. But you can see it sort of trying to engage and disengage up there, like that. So that was actually going into the correct code when that got to 4, which was the 3rd number. So that's okay. So that seems to be okay. I'm not entirely certain what is grabbing what. I think that's probably just going to engage. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But the last bit to do on this is to bend these 2 sides around and engage them again into the bottom and the top, having them at 90 degrees to the others. Obviously again provides that little bit more stability, just like that, and gives it the nice finish as well on the outside. So I'll get that on it, all that lined up. I'll twiddle with it a little bit off camera, see if we can get it to ease in a little bit. So I'll see you on the other side. Right, I made one error which I've corrected. The peg on the 3rd disc I put in from the wrong side. I couldn't look back through the instructions, I couldn't find them at all. But I put it coming from the inside rather than the outside because it was slipping over before. But it seems to be working. Interestingly, the number I've chosen makes it less secure, because it says, you know, when 2 numbers next to each other are the same, you basically don't have to do anything with it. So it says to unlock it, you turn it 2 circles counterclockwise, basically to make sure it's all zeroed. And then you look for the first number. So we'll go around to 1, which is there. And then we turn 1 circle clockwise and then look for 2. So we'll go around to 1 again. And then we'll keep going around for the 4. So when we get to the 4, it actually, if you watch this bit at the top there, unlocks it completely. Normally you'd have to go back the other way for the other 4, but it's already there, so you don't. Then if you turn it a little bit more clockwise, that completely disengages the lock. So yeah, I could take it apart and change my number, but I'm not going to, so we'll stick with it like that for now. I might change, we'll see. If I change it, it'll be a secret to you lot as well, so I probably will change it, but don't tell anyone. So we tested the password is correct, so it is. So that's that part of the build completed. Continuing onwards, we're obviously going to be doing a different section. So as ever, I'm going to get this apart, get the bits off, put some of them together, lubricate some of it. If there's anything interesting, I'll come back and show you, but otherwise it's going to be a 4-hour long video. So see you soon. Right, I've progressed and done a bit more. I'm just making 2 keys, which are apparently very easy. Just slip them together, and that goes over the end there. That's quite cool. That it looks much more impressive than it really is. But yeah, that's nice. I like that. That's quite good. So I've got the 2 keys. Or I've got 1 key. I've got a 2nd key momentarily. There we go. That's that. A bit of mist when I sanded it. And I've built this section, which has a little compartment in the middle there, and I believe these keys will fit over there like that, and by turning the keys we can raise up the little compartment and indeed lower it back down again. So that's another chunk completed. This is obviously the main sort of storage area that's is now geared to work with that. So far so good. That's that. Then we're progressing on. I've done that bit. I made sure that gear's in. Yep, it does locate in there. Got to put panels on the top. So I'll carry on building and show you a bit more when it's complete a little bit further. And now we have a lid on top of the box and little gearing in front with the keys. So when you put the keys on and turn, the doors open and the little inside bit raises slightly. So there we go, that's that. And that now is added to the box in progress. It is that way round, yep. So yeah, that fills all of that. So we have the bit that unlocks, which I have changed the code for. So if you do find my box, it won't open with 144. I've changed it. I'm not going to tell you what the code is, in case someone who gets the box wants to open it, and they'll have to find out there and figure it out themselves. But it does work, and indeed the keys, I don't know if it will work with one. Yeah, it works with one. Works with a single key as well, because it's that well engineered and that well created, and my building skills are that good. So we have approaching the end. It's not really. I seem to have still quite a lot of material to do. I think I've got the whole iris opening thing on the top to build yet. But this is the other half of the top, or at least half, you know, the sub top, which will lock it all together. There we go. That side in, and that middle piece get in there. If in doubt, push a bit harder. It normally works. There we go. And the other side and the front, and obviously then there's a little bit more to do around the front piece, and then we can put the other surround around the edge. So I'm going to continue on with the build behind the scenes and see you momentarily. Right, the surround is done. It looks lovely. I'm quite happy with how that's come together. You've got some sort of latch at the top there, which is obviously the top section, which is presumably the next bit, because I think we finished the bottom bit. The combination works. I've just checked that again, tested that again. The key goes on there and indeed works lovely. I'm happy with that. It's taking longer than I thought it was going to, but it's all coming together nicely. There's no real problems, except for me being incapable of reading the instructions correctly. I thought I'd film this bit because this is a fun little bit. This is so fine and transparent. It's like one long, huge cut in and out and zigzagging, so it's very, very, very flexible. And apparently rolls up to be a circle. So yeah, I'm hoping it's not going to break. Roll that around gently. Push the ends together. And the ends are not terribly loose, but that's a good thing because you need it to be tight. There we go. It goes like that, and we have a circular ring which fits onto the top piece here, obviously with the engraved side up. They don't seem to be any particular way round, so I'll just start at one side and work my way around, popping them in securely. Still no glue fixatives of any type used on any of this so far. I don't think it's going to be necessary to either, but yeah, I'm just going to get that one in and then continue on. But that's how the build is progressing. I've been busy building away. I thought this bit would be an interesting one though, so here we go. I put a couple of plates together with pins, a couple of other bits together with pins. It works very well. They're nice, secure, tight fit. I've almost cut some more pins there, as you can see. I've decided that I don't need to worry about sanding down the ends of these because I can do them once they're in place if they need it. 3, 4, there we go, 5 of them for these bits. Now these are the irising section in the middle, which I didn't know how it's going to work. I still don't really know how it's going to work, but it looks quite cool. So we have, what have we got? That's gone together on there. That goes through the bottom into there as well. There are little bits on here that need to be lined up correctly. So that's that. Actually, before I put that in there, I'm going to wax the inside of this. It doesn't say, it does say to wax it. I thought it should. So yes, you've got to make sure that's waxed. Also these teeth in here, it says as well, which you can't really get into to do between teeth, but I'm going to do a few of them, and that should sort of spread the waxing throughout. There we go. And then that can go inside there, and because I've done the inside of that, that should enable that to turn relatively freely. So then we have to do this bit. This is the tricky fun bit. All of these are the same, and they need to be engaged, so they engage into there and pin onto here. So I think we're doing these closed, so we're going to put that like that through there with one of these pins. So put the pin through there is probably the easiest way of doing it. Then I can get the pin started on there and get that lined up sort of like that. And that will be that. Now that obviously is a big bit and a narrow bit in the middle. So once you get more than one of them in place, I think they should hold all this bit together. So that will go like that, and that will rotate and iris it open. So that's coming together. This bit I'm going to try the other way round. I'm going to put the pin in the first bit first, and then put that over the top. Again, making sure it's closed. So that tooth should line up with that bit there, and that should go to there. And then, oh, I like that. I do like that. And that worked quite well. So I'm going to do that, continuing onwards and around. Mostly on there, making sure it's lined up still. Closed, in, and push through flush. Right, I'll get the last few done, and then actually I'll do them live now here, because there's only a couple to go, and we are approaching, I think, the end. So yeah, let's crack on. That one on there. So all tightened up and closed. That one will go on to about there, and that one will fill in that gap. Get that closed down flush. So that's there, and magically it opens. I like that. That's lovely. Obviously it tricks you into thinking that there's lots of bits that will open, but there aren't. But enough open that make it quite impressive. I quite like that. Now on top of that we're putting that one. Oh, that's why these pins, I thought they came out a bit thick. Let's push them through a little bit further. I can't push them through a little bit further. I've pushed them too hard. I'm trying to push down onto something. Let's push through onto my finger that will give and let me come all the way through. So therefore we've got one bit falling off, but we won't worry about that. So they're all engaging on there, and there's pins sticking through the front there, which is okay, because onto the top of that we're going to be putting this bit, which is obviously the decorative finishing off section. Get that lined up on a couple of the pins. push that through, and then we give it something to push against, like that. And then once, hopefully they'll be either flush or sticking out a little bit from the front. Actually, they're lovely. I'll leave them like that. So we have that, which, if I turn that, yes. There we go, turning that, opens and closes that central iris. Again, any moving parts are going to take a little bit of wearing in. A couple of bits flaking off. So a couple of uses doing that. We'll wear that in and that will be looking good. So that's the top of the box, which according to the instructions here, yeah, it just says turn it, rotate it, then put it on the top, and then that should be completed. So let's get that done. Don't worry about that bit there. Is there a front and a back to that? Not really, all the sides are the same. So let's get that pushed on all the way around. A little bit of manipulation here and there. There's my little tweezers. Trouble using books, they go everywhere, in and out of the, and around. Oh well, right. Let's carefully use a knife. Just pull that bit open just a touch. There we go. Right, I'll get this squared away and then come back and show you the finished item. So here we have the completed item. We'll come to that in a moment. We have the decoding tool, which isn't actually part of the box, but you use it to set up and figure out what your code combination, how to program it on the inside. So keep hold of that safe, but you don't need it anymore unless you want to change the combination. We have the two keys, which I shall use momentarily. But first of all, we have the box itself, which is obviously locked in place. You can't do anything, you can't get into any of it at all. The one bit you can get into is the bit on the top, which just by rotating you can get to a small secret area there, not big enough for a key, but big enough for a ring or a coin or a selection of coins, which is quite cool. Or maybe you'd write the combination in there as a hint or something. Now the code for the combination, I've put in the first 2 digits. The last one will just be here when I do this. I'll just turn this a little bit more. And there you go, little pop, but still not open. To open it, you turn it that way, a couple of digits. There we go, that now opens. So that just disengages that hook on there, quite cleverly. So then you've got the box open, but you still can't get to anything, because you know you can't get to anything. That's where the keys come in. By putting the keys on the back and rotating those, you can do both of them, but one of them will do both of them. You have the main area opens, rises slightly, and that's where you can keep your slightly bigger prize, award, gift, whatever it is you want to keep in there. So yeah, and you put that down and lock that just by turning that that way. You lock it completely, and that scrambles the digits. So I've got a 3-digit code that you need to put into there, just like a proper combination lock. It works. I mean, obviously you can break it open to get into whatever. I wouldn't use it to keep your, gold bullion in or secret passwords and things. But it's fun. It's been a fun build. It's been a few hours. So yeah, don't expect to do it in 5 minutes. But yeah, obviously you can put the code on the bottom there if you want to. But yeah, why would you? There we go. I hope you've enjoyed watching the build, and I'll probably end up picking up a couple more of these sort of things because they're quite good fun. They're great for sort of Lost Mojo and model making, and it's quite an attractive little piece anyway. So I hope you've enjoyed watching the build. Stick around, watch other videos that I've got on the channel, like and subscribe as they always say. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon.